Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm filming one of my favorite videos to film. It is my January rankings video. So this is the first one for 2021. January felt like the longest month, but also looking back, I'm like, I can't believe it's already February. It's so crazy and it's almost the end of February. So I am way behind schedule, but that's okay. If you guys are curious to see how all the eyeshadow palettes I tried out in the month of January ranked, then just keep watching. If you guys are new to my channel, I just want to say a quick hello. My name is Karen Harris. I like to film tan girl friendly makeup videos here on my channel. I do a monthly ranking video every month and it's so much fun because I get to look back at palettes I've tried out that month. I also get to give you guys more thoughts if I have any throughout the month from using the palette again. And yeah, it's just a whole lot of fun. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, I would highly recommend subscribing to my channel. I also do Will I Buy It's, anti-hauls, a lot of first impression videos, as well as swatch parties. So yeah, go ahead and subscribe. Leave me a comment because it really helps me out in the YouTube algorithm. And my goal this year is to get to 10K subscribers. So I would really appreciate it if you guys could help my channel out. Leave me a comment. It's totally free. You can just leave me a little emoji, send me a little heart, send me a little wave, you know, whatever floats your boat. We love engagement here on my channel, even if it's a thumbs down. That's totally fine. Anyway, without further blabbering, let's get into my January rankings video. Okay guys, quick disclaimer, I am playing around with the lighting, so we'll see. Sometimes I feel like I look so bright, sometimes listen, it's a struggle. I'm not a professional, okay, by any means, so I'm doing the best I can. I think I'm gonna switch up my background here soon. We'll see. I have some ideas brewing in my head. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to pull them off or if it's gonna work exactly how I have it planned in my head, but I will keep you guys posted on that. Okay guys, so I have 18 eyeshadow palettes to rank, so let's start off with number 18. If you've been watching all of my videos in the month of January, I don't think you'll be surprised that this is in the 18th spot. This is the Blooms palette from the brand Alter Ego. They were so kind and they sent me this palette in PR and I did use this and create an eye look with it. Honestly guys, I was very disappointed in this palette. I feel like this is not Alter Ego's quality. I feel like they definitely usually have better quality in their palettes. I don't know if I got a dud. I feel like I saw so many positive reviews. I even got comments from you guys because I had mentioned like maybe I got a dud. I don't know. And you guys had said you had picked this palette up and it worked fine. So I'm not 100% sure. I personally was not a fan of how this palette performed compared to the original that it is a dupe of. So yeah, I'm just not 100% sure I can recommend this to you guys. I need to use this more. I also have not used the Canyon palette yet. I keep buying new palettes. What else is new? So then the Canyon kind of keeps dropping in my list of things to try out. But yeah, this palette was not very good. I mean, I still think it's okay if you don't want to buy the original palette because it's so much more expensive and maybe you don't want to spend that kind of money. Totally understandable. But yeah, I have a lot of the Alter Ego palettes and I feel like they are better than this Bloom palette, or at least the copy I got. Okay, in 17th place is the BH Cosmetics Lost in Los Angeles palette. So this is actually not a bad palette. It's just all the palettes from here on out are really good palettes. So I feel like this is just ranking lower because of how much I love all the other palettes. I think this is a really fun color story. I think it's a little bit different for BH and I honestly really like this packaging. This is probably my favorite packaging of their travel series and I had a lot of fun playing with this palette. I think you guys really enjoyed the look as well. I do need to play with this one some more because I didn't really get a chance to try a lot of the other colors, so I think that's why I'm also ranking it a little bit lower. But this is a nice palette. I still prefer my Glam Light Ice Cream palette better if you want like a wonderful neutral palette, but I think this one is at a much more affordable price point. So if you don't like pastels, kind of like me, I would go with the more affordable one and kind of dip your toe in the pool, see how you feel, and if you don't like it, then at least you didn't spend like $40 to $50 on a pastel palette. You kind of went the cheap route. And I feel like these eyeshadows perform really nicely, so I don't feel like they had to cheapen the quality to make this an affordable palette. It is a nice palette. Okay, number 16. I'm going to give it to this little Charlotte Tilbury quad. So the reason this one is ranking so low is because it's a 4-pan palette, and this is her Flawless Eye Filter Luxury palette in the shade Diva Lights, and I haven't even used the other colors. I've only used the bronze shade, and it's nice. It's a Baked Gelée formula. It is very luxurious and fancy. It's Charlotte Tilbury. I really didn't think I needed this palette. I think the reason I bought this is because I'm still sad about not buying the Fire Rose quad when it was available. So I bought this one, but now I think I learned my lesson. Like, I have one other Charlotte Tilbury quad. I have the Pillow Talk quad, and it's a nice one, but I think it's a little too light for my skin tone. This one is nice, but I feel like I have these shades 100 times over. I didn't really need it in the Charlotte Tilbury formula, so it's probably like a bad buy on my part because of how much money this costs, but I'm kind of glad I have it, and if Fire Rose comes back, I'm definitely getting my hands on that one. Okay, number 15 was another like sale buy. I bought this one because it was on sale, and I thought the packaging was really pretty, and I was buying some lipsticks from Lime Crime, so I was like, why not? Let me just get that. So this is their Greatest Hits palette. I think this was their holiday palette, and basically it took some of the best shades in their existing palettes, and they compiled it into one palette. I think this is nice. I think if you can get it on sale and you like the Lime Crime formula, I would say go for it. My favorite shade in this palette is the shade Radiant. It's the most beautiful iridescent like peach color, and it's like the most stunning inner corner highlight for my skin tone. I almost wish this was a highlighter because I just think it would be such a stunning color on my skin tone. Like, if somebody wants to do a collab and make this as a highlighter, I think actually I should try my Kaleidos. One of their peach highlighters might be the same shade. Like, do you see that? Like, it's stunning. It's such a stunning inner corner highlight. So yeah, I am glad I bought this. I haven't used it that much, but it's cute, and I don't know, I was kind of into Lime Crime in 2020, so I don't feel too bad about it. Okay, in 14th place is the Fade Into Hue palette from ColourPop. I feel like this is like their first real rainbow eyeshadow palette where they gave us like greens, blues, purples, everything kind of together. I have not used this palette very much either, so I'm ranking it a little bit lower. A few times I did use it. I do think it doesn't have enough depth. I think it's definitely missing one more row of really dark shades, because you can do a lot of like light to mid-tone to pastel looks. With my skin tone, I think we're needing one more row of darker shades. I think this palette would be really beautiful on lighter skin tones. Obviously, you can correct me if I'm wrong. If you think that this is going to work on deeper skin tones, or you are a deep skin tone and you love this palette, definitely let us know, because that's the only way I'm going to learn what's going to work on deeper skin tones. Obviously, I have a medium skin tone, so to me, I feel like this lacks some depth. And when I say depth, what I mean is, if you look at this palette, this is the Blend Bunny palette. I'm actually wearing this palette on my eyes today. This row is so nice and rich that I can kind of deepen up some of these lighter colors like I did in this eye look. For example, I have this shade called Spellbound in the outer crease, as well as the black in the outer crease, just to give it some depth. And I think if I needed to do that with this palette, I don't have that option. So that is what I mean when I say it's lacking depth, and that's why I ranked it at number 14. Okay, I don't know if this is my unpopular opinion, but I didn't really like this palette. I do need to use this one more as well. This is the Natasha Denona Mini Love palette. Now, I will say I don't actually really love the color story of the original Love palette either. I said that to somebody one day and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't like the color story either. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad to know I'm not the only one that doesn't love the color story of the Love palette by Natasha Denona, because I feel like across the board that palette is such a hit for a lot of people. But I like this palette. Like, I really like this purple shade because I think it has some really nice depth to it. But I don't know, I think some of the other shades in this palette really didn't need to be there. The two mattes are really nice. I really like the duochrome shade. The champagne shade is like okay, so I don't know. I like 3 of the 5 shades, so I guess that's okay. But for 25 bucks, I don't know that I would recommend this. I feel like when it comes to the mini palettes, the gold palette is still my favorite. The mini gold palette by Natasha Denona is Chef's Kiss. Okay, in 12th place is the Kimchi Chic Beauty palette. This is her collaboration with Naomi Smalls. This is a vegan formula, and this is what the palette looks like. This is a colorful palette, I think, with a pop of neutral, because there's some brown shades in here. But this is a really fun palette. It's very pigmented. I feel like when you originally look at it, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense color story wise. But sometimes I like palettes like that because it feels like you're playing a big palette bingo within a palette, because you're like, what shades go together? But I really like the eye look I created with this. I had so much fun putting a very green eyeshadow look together. If you guys aren't new to my channel, you know how much I love green eyeshadows and colorful makeup. So this was like right up my alley. And I tried Kimchi Chic Beauty this year on my channel, so I would highly recommend checking out that video. I thought it was a really informative video because I got a little bit of the complexion products, especially the face products, and I had such a hard time finding what shades would work for me. So if you are similar skin tone to me and you want to try Kimchi Chic Beauty, I would highly recommend checking out what blushes, which highlighter shade, which bronzer shade I ended up choosing, so that maybe you'll have a better understanding of what shade to order for yourself. Okay, in number 11, I put the Natasha Denona Love Palette. I feel like I said everything I needed to say about this palette when I talked about the Mini Love palette, but I don't know, I tried this palette out before the Mini Love showed up on purpose because I was like, let me just try this some more, and I will continue to try this even more, but I swear the metallics in this palette aren't as creamy as the ones in the Metropolis palette. Those ones just are my absolute favorite formula. These ones, I don't know, I feel like I noticed a difference compared to like my Metropolis, and I don't know that that's necessarily the palette's fault. I think it's just my preferences are in those greens and those blues and those neutral shades, so I feel like this palette just does not speak to me on the same level as the Metropolis palette or the gold palette does from Natasha Denona. Okay, in 10th place we have this cutie from Nomad Cosmetics, and I actually got this in a Tribe Beauty box. I used to get PR from Tribe Beauty box, and this was one of the palettes in it, and I'm going to be talking about a palette coming up in this video, and I decided to try this palette out because I was trying to decide if I wanted to get the Nomad Cosmetics Iceland palette. So I did try this out. Spoiler alert, I did get the Iceland palette because I feel like that one is like way more color selection than this one, to put it nicely, but I feel like if you're really into color, go for that one because it has all these shades and more. This is a nice palette though. I'm really glad I got this because I do have a Nomad collection at this point. I have a lot of their palettes. I'm really glad that Tribe Beauty Box sent this palette to me so I could try it out for myself. Okay, number 9 is the Vivid Rose palette. This one is just like the palette that I wanted the Mini Love and the Love palette by Natasha Denona to be, but they weren't, so this one had to come in and save the day. This is such a beautiful palette. I really enjoyed playing with this. The shade Talk Dirt to me was such a fun, like dirty, grungy purple shade, and some beautiful metallics as always with Give Me Glow. I love this packaging. I just love their entire vibe. So yeah, this one definitely got me in the mood for Valentine's Day, and I'm so happy that they sent me a replacement palette with all their eyeshadows so I could try it out. Okay, so this was an unexpected find in January. This is the Main Stage palette from LA Girl. I had never thought to try anything from LA Girl until I saw this palette. They do have many other palettes in this format, not in this color story obviously, so I kept like putting off buying one, even though I'd heard multiple YouTubers refer to this brand and how affordable it is and what great quality the shadows are. I was never really drawn to any of the color stories, but when I saw this one, I was like, okay, let me get that palette, let me try it out for my channel and let you guys know if you should spend your hard-earned money on it. And honestly, I think this is really nice. It was like under 20 bucks and you can get it at Ulta and you can use a coupon, so you can just save even more money. I'm personally very pleasantly surprised with this palette, so that's why I'm ranking it at number 8. Okay, in 7th place, I'm ranking these two little cuties together because they launched together. So these are the Midas Cosmetics Unveiled eyeshadow palettes. Midas, I don't know, okay? I didn't hear from the owner that this happened, but it feels like they had a formula change, and I think it's for the better. I like these eyeshadows even more than I did their originals. I think these are so creamy. I love the 9-pan format, and I really like how the owner really pays attention. She didn't include just a bunch of brow bone highlights, like she did nudes and berries, like the essentials for you. So I really like these palettes, and they're so creamy and nice. So if you're on the hunt for some good neutral palettes and you want to support a small women-owned business, I would highly recommend checking out Midas. Both of these palettes were sent to me. I am a Midas affiliate. My code KHMakeup saves you 20% on their website. Highly recommend checking them out. They always have good sales as well, so you don't have to pay full price, that's for sure. Okay, another brand that's new to me that I tried in January 2021 is DD Signature, and I will say DD Signature actually sent me this palette last year and I kept putting off trying it, and then one fine Friday evening I sat down and I filmed a video with this palette and I realized how beautiful and pigmented these eyeshadows are. Now I understand not everybody cares about how pigmented eyeshadows are, but if you're a person of color, especially with a deep skin tone, that might be something that's important to you. I do know that this brand is African owned and she definitely pays attention to making sure her eyeshadows are very, very pigmented. Maybe you want to consider trying out DD Signature. She has also made changes to her brand, so they're no longer putting in pressed glitters into their palettes, which is wonderful, and these work so amazingly. I'm also wearing a DD Signature lipstick on my lips. They're so comfortable. Oh my gosh, highly recommend. Prapa and DD Signature lipsticks definitely surprised me last year and this year, so I'm so happy that they sent me this palette. They also sent me 2 other palettes for Valentine's Day, so I'm definitely excited to test those out and keep you guys posted. The packaging is not the most fancy packaging I've ever seen, but it's also not overly bulky, so that's kind of nice. I don't know how well you could travel with these. I think you might want to put like a hair tie on it or like a rubber band to just like keep this secure. But I just keep these on my bookshelf in my beauty room and I haven't had a problem with it. So just want to mention the pros and the cons for you guys. I also have a code with them. It's KH Makeup, I believe, and that saves you 10% on their website. Okay, so I had mentioned in my December rankings video that I like to include older palettes that I had pulled out and tried in my monthly rankings because that really gives you guys a very accurate picture of what my makeup routine is like. I do wear makeup almost daily at work and stuff like that, and so sometimes I do reach back into my collection and grab older palettes. And since I knew my friend Angie's Club Nebula palette was heading my way, I did decide to pull my escape pod and use this on her launch day. So I had a lot of fun playing with this palette. Just reminded me of the good old days with my escape pod. And now we have Club Nebula, so I'm so pumped. I still need to do multiple looks videos with the Club Nebula. I haven't gotten to it. It's just been so chaotic at work, guys. I'm so sorry, but this one's still a good one if you guys are on the hunt for, you know, what I would recommend with Kaleidos. I really like this palette. I like all their palettes though, so, you know, take that with a grain of salt. In 4th place is another oldie but a goodie. I did grab this one to just try out as well because I hadn't used it in so long. So this is the Jackie Aina collaboration palette with ABH. I think a lot of the internet would agree with me when I say this is probably one of the best ABH palettes that came out. And it's really nice. I wish I had more time to dig into this some more because it's such a nice palette. The mattes are incredible. The shimmers are so fun. And hopefully in the future I'll get more chances to play with this. I keep trying to think of ideas of how to use older palettes in a way that's interesting to you guys. And I haven't quite cracked the code yet. So I'm going to keep brainstorming ideas. If you guys have any suggestions, highly recommend putting those down in the comments as well. Okay guys, we're at top 3. So in 3rd place is another old palette that I dug out and used, and this is the Book of Magic palette by Beauty Bay. This palette is so gorgeous. I wanted to play with this because they were teasing the new Romantics palette when I decided to use this, and I already have a video with the new palette, so I would highly recommend checking that out if you haven't seen it already. But this palette is gorgeous. So I was watching Tammy Clark on YouTube. She has an amazing channel. Highly recommend checking her out. But she had mentioned that this palette has been discontinued by Beauty Bay, which I think is a mistake. I don't know why they would discontinue this palette. It's such a fun color story. Maybe they're going to replace it with something even more fun. I don't know. You guys tell me what you've heard online, but I've just heard that this has been discontinued. I haven't seen this on their site, so that's kind of a bummer, but this palette is gorgeous. I will definitely continue to use this in my spare time at least, but why did they go try to fix something that isn't broken? Like, were people complaining about the Book of Magic? Because I haven't heard one bad thing about this palette, but anyway, just hoping that they send us like good replacements in 2021. Okay guys, this is one of the top competitors of my best palette of 2021 so far. So this is the Nomad Cosmetics Iceland Fire and Ice palette. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine that I tried the Lake Como palette thinking I might not want this one? I was wrong. I was wrong. I like this palette more than I like the Shanghai palette so far. I think this one is amazing. The mattes are beautiful. The shimmers are beautiful. I like the metallic shades in the Shanghai palette, but I'm not a huge fan of the mattes. I haven't used it much though, so I will keep you posted on that. But this palette, the mattes are amazing. The shimmers are amazing. I know a lot of you guys ask me, like, if you could get one Nomad Cosmetics palette, which one would you recommend? And for a long time, I feel like my answer would have been the Orient Express, but man, oh man, this one, whoo, it blew that one out of the water. And this packaging is beautiful. There's a little guy over here. Like, it's so cute. They do such a good job paying attention to detail. So highly recommend checking out Nomad Cosmetics in 2021 if you haven't already. Okay guys, number 1 spot. This is, oh my gosh, so embarrassing that I didn't buy this palette right away. Another brand that is launching a new palette in the month of February, Adept Cosmetics Plain Jane. I know, I am so late to the Plain Jane party, but listen, this palette is so fabulous and I feel like I got it at exactly the right time because now they're launching a palette called the Ninfandril palette, and that's actually launching tomorrow because I'm filming this on the 17th. Who knows when this video will go up, but man oh man am I so excited for the new Adept palette launch. I have it on my phone. I wrote myself a post-it note. They have 2,000 palettes. I feel like I'm prepping for the Hunger Games. I am ready. I am going to take some people out if I need to. No, I'm just kidding. I really want that palette. I'm gonna be so sad if I don't get it. Fingers, toes, everything crossed that I don't miss out on that launch. So send me positive vibes, guys. Obviously, if I have the palette, I'll probably post a video pretty shortly here, but that Plain Jane palette, do not sleep on it. It is so beautiful and shimmery and gorgeous. I have a video with it. I can't remember which one, but I'll try and remember to link it for you guys if you are curious to check it out. Highly recommend. Such a beautiful palette. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. So that is my number 1 palette of January 2021. I'm really hoping 2021 is a much more smooth, relaxed, stress-free year compared to 2020. I still really want to rank all of my winning palettes from 2020. So if you want to see that video, request it down in the comments so I know you guys are going to be interested in that. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in my next video soon. Bye!